Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Whisper2Scream. My name is Bernard, and I am your host. You can watch us on YouTube and Facebook at Coon Tunes Productions. And you can rock with us on Instagram at Coon Tunes and number 2. We have a lot to talk about today. In our last broadcast, we talked about support for our police force. Now, we're going to continue in that direction by talking about mental health for our police force. In this segment, we are discussing getting psychological help for police personnel. Now, here is the truth. Every man and woman in a police uniform is a walking target. They never know when someone might take a shot at them or set them up for some other mishap. Now, I'm speaking of the majority of police, the men and women who join to bring order to our communities. I'm not talking about the white racist cops or the sadists who have managed to wiggle their way into law enforcement. I'm talking about the cops who want to create a lawful atmosphere in our cities, but awake each day and find the same characters doing the same stunts. The faces may change, but it's the same element. So they begin to lose their altruism. They become hopeless, depressed, and cynical. I believe this happens to a whole bunch of cops. The stress of the job, usually a thankless one, the monotony of circumstances, and some begin to lose it. They begin to doubt their purpose. Next, they begin to resent human frailty as well as their own. Now, circumstances become so bad that many cops commit suicide. Studies have shown that the suicide rate among cops is greater than the suicide rate among the general population. You heard me right. It's approaching epidemic status. It is 4 times higher than that of firefighters, another stressful occupation. 19% of police have symptoms of post-traumatic stress, compared to only 3.5% in our general population. As an example, last week, Robert Echeverria, 56, a cop with the city of New York, committed suicide. 1 week before him, another cop, Johnny Rios, committed suicide. They make numbers 8 and 9 to commit suicide in New York City since January of this year. These statistics are repeating themselves all across America. The big problem is getting cops to go to therapy. Cops are reluctant to go to therapy for fear of being labeled weak, or fear of being bullied by their fellow cops, and worse, getting fired. How do we get cops to get that much-needed help? Well, law enforcement departments are redoubling their efforts to encourage cops to seek therapy. There are 2 main trends of therapy being suggested. One suggests being isolated away from family and job environment. The second is for cops to remain with the family and in the environment while they work through the rehabilitation process, leading to a coping mechanism. The important factor to remember is that cops are human too, just like you and I. And as we've stated in earlier broadcasts, they do not become superheroes when they put on a uniform. They become members of our society who are being paid to carry out duties in our communities. We need to remind ourselves of their service, and when we can, remind them of their responsibility and our trust that they will not abuse their pledge to that service. Now, we here at Whisper2Scream want to encourage cops to get help. We enjoin relatives and friends of cops to encourage them to seek help. Our next edition, we are going to examine what happens between cops and citizens and violent occurrences, especially against citizens of color. How much does drug use and mental stress affect the level of violence from police? Why do they seem to go from 0 to 60 whenever their judgment is questioned? We will explore drug use by cops. It is real, and we have the receipts.
As always, be blessed and stay woke.